Hello and welcome to So Are the Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Olivia Willis, and it's Minisode Day. Now, this is kind of a roundabout way into a minisode, but go with me here. I finally got around to watching the movie Weapons. Yes, it came out over the summer. It's currently October, but a girl was scared. So I had to wait until I could watch it at home under the comfort and safety of my own blanket. So I'm watching Weapons, and imagine my surprise when I recognize one of the main characters in the movie from Days of Our Lives. And no, it wasn't a 50-year veteran of the show or like a guest star like Dick Van Dyke. It was none other than little 10-year-old Thomas DiMera, elementary school-aged son of Chad and the late Abigail, who always shows up at the perfect time to tug at our heartstrings whenever Chad is off gallivanting with some other woman who's not his deceased wife. That's right, Cary Christopher, which, by the way, is an iconic old Hollywood-style name. Cary Christopher has gone from Salem to one of the summer's blockbuster hits. He was so great in Weapons, too. He fully carries a whole section of the movie, and I was just, so weirdly parasocially proud of him. So seeing Cary in Weapons inspired me to do a little deep dive into some of the current kid stars on Days of Our Lives. So here we go. Now, the use of kids on Days of Our Lives, especially in recent history, is kind of funny because I feel like there are waves of how kids are used. When a character on the show has a baby, we start with an invisible baby. We're very much cradling a faceless blanket. We're leaning over a crib. We're having disembodied baby noises come from another room. Very rarely will we see a live baby on screen as the baby in the show. I think the only recent one I can remember was I was very surprised by a baby Victoria appearance with Sarah and Xander. I think that was maybe around Doug's funeral or something like that. There was a big event, or maybe it was Christmas. It was probably Christmas. And Sarah shows up with a real baby. And I was like, whose baby is this? Oh, it's Victoria. I'm used to seeing a blanket in someone's arms or an empty stroller in the corner. And let's be clear, the baby at Christmas was fighting for her life, so I do fully understand why they avoid using babies when they can. At a certain point, though, we graduate to young kids, think ages 5 to 10, who can be led in and sat down and basically treated like cute furniture. They will occasionally verbally engage with the actors in the scene. This is kind of how they're treating Eli and Lonnie's twins, Jules and Carver, even though they're very much on the younger side of this. I think they're even closer to maybe 3 or 4. I can't even really find any information about the kid actors that they have hired because A, I think they swap kids in, and B, they are such literal children, so they don't really have active IMDb's. Respect. That's also, I think, really how the DiMera kids started out. Thomas, played by Cary Christopher, and Charlotte, played by Autumn Gendron, who iconically only has one other credit besides Days of Our Lives, which is an episode of Beef, another show I really love. Obsessed. So yeah, they would be ushered in and sit on the couch and just be like, Mom, are we gonna have pizza for dinner and stuff like that. That's my impression of a 5-year-old child. But after Abigail's murder, Cary Christopher's performance as Thomas really kicked it up a notch, and I genuinely started noticing that this little kid had, dare I say, it factor. If you go back and watch some of those scenes with Chad and the kids, bless her heart, Charlotte, she's really just coming in and looking cute and snuggling on the couch, which is all you can ask of a little child. I do think she's 5 or 6 in those episodes. But Thomas, on the other hand, he's locked in, he's giving range, he's cute, but he's grieving. He's confused when his dad starts dating his mom's cousin. He's a scene partner. There are literally a couple of scenes that are just him and Chad, and they're genuinely good. So that's the sort of in-between of kid actors. But I feel on the show, after the age of 10, the kids kind of disappear again. They go to boarding schools. We're not seeing tween years. And then they're rapidly aged thanks to SORAS, soap opera rapid aging syndrome. And they return as high schoolers played by 20-somethings. So honestly, it would be Can you imagine how crazy of like a boyhood film experience you could actually have if you like signed a kid actor? This would be insane and like not okay for legal reasons. But like a kid signs up to do Days of Our Lives and they basically grow up on screen and you actually like continue to see them grow up in real time. That would be so insane. You can't do that. That would be sick. Now, back to the Thomas DiMera, aka Cary Christopher, spotlight. According to his IMDb, Cary Christopher has been acting since 2019 and has had a lot of like 1 to 2 episode guest spots on network TV shows like 911, NCIS, The Rookie, Station 19. He has an upcoming Chicago Med episode. One credit certainly stands out among those 1 to 2 episode arcs. We've got 41 episodes of Days of Our Lives on the roster. He started the show when he was 4 years old. Like I said, imagine if he like actually followed him through his entire adolescence. Woof. I cannot even imagine. In researching for this minisode, I was gutted to see that 3 weeks ago as of this recording, so in October of 2025, Cary Christopher has announced his departure from Days of Our Lives. In a Facebook post, he casually drops, "Yes, it's true. I left Days of Our Lives several months ago." The drama, obsessed with what parent manager constructed that statement. On Facebook, also, we got to get you on like an Instagram iOS press release or something. But what can you say? The kid is a star. He's leaving Days of Our Lives because he booked a series regular role on an Amazon Prime series. Clearly, his star is on the rise, and who knows, maybe he'll be back. You can never say never when it comes to Days of Our Lives. Really, the only other kiddo in Salem in season 60 is Kristen and Brady's daughter and reptile aficionado Rachel, heavily featured in the most recent full episode of So Are the Days of Our Lives. Reptile Rachel and the woman in white in the attic with the candlestick with my friend Lucky Gretzinger. Finley Rose Slater played Rachel Black for 69 episodes, and in that episode, which I think was season 16, episode 110, oh my God, they all run together. But she recently left the show sometime in season 60. I can't tell if she's still acting or honestly, hopefully, fingers crossed, just like taking a break to be a kid and go to school. The character Rachel is now being played by 10-year-old Alice Halsey, who seems like another young star in the making. She did that show Lessons in Chemistry and a couple of other credits. And she's also playing Laura Ingalls in the new Netflix Little House on the Prairie reboot. So very thrilling. It'll be interesting to see how the like newest generation of kid actors, maybe a couple of them will have had their start on Days of Our Lives. So anyway, that's my weapons-inspired Cary Christopher / Kids of Days of Our Lives minisode. Follow me on Instagram at So Are the Days Podcast. Leave a comment. Let me know if I forgot to mention your favorite kid actor from Days of Our Lives. Maybe another good minisode would be like famous actors who got their start on Days of Our Lives, because I know there are so many good ones. Yeah, if you like the podcast, leave a review, leave a rating. I would love to make my full-time job watching Days of Our Lives and talking about it. And so to do that, I need support and ratings and reviews and traction and virality. I'm unhinged. It is a Wednesday night and I'm alone in my room talking about children who are already way more successful than I'll ever be in my acting career. It's fine. It's fine. We're not dwelling in it tonight. Anyways, love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week for another amazing recap. Bye-bye.